it was very upsetting for me, and there was a lot of tension and violence, and I just didn't know where to turn.
It was so bad I blocked most of it out. My husband was a drinker. He was physically, mentally violent to myself and my 2 sons and my daughter.
I was in a relationship with mentally and emotionally abused.
I was in a lot of danger, and I came here and I got the support.
You get plenty of advice. You can ring them and talk to them when you're highly stressed at home.
I would say that the work of the Inchicore Outreach Centre began really in the Family Resource Centre about 25 years ago.
We would have been providing a women's programme, a local education programme for women, and what we found was the women were coming into the programmes, they were beginning to talk about, you know, getting beaten the night before. Or
it started really when women began to disclose the abuse that was happening in their lives. I think the response of the workers at the time was really a crisis response.
What we did with our programmes, we actually brought Women's Aid in to raise the issue of violence against women and to look at it from an analysis that violence against women, it's actually a crime that's happening.
So while that was happening then, they began to look at a model of good practice. So at the time then, on the 27th of December 1991, Mary, who would have been very involved in the Family Resource Centre,
Mary Bailey, who was one of our local volunteers who had gone on to local education, she tried to help a woman in a situation, and she was knocked to the ground
and was killed. So after that then, that sort of pushed the model forward, you know, that there was a huge need for a response and also for a confidential space outside of the Family Resource Centre.
The grassroots response had to be voluntary and statutory. If a woman discloses that, instead of that woman having to be sent to 9, 10 agencies, that there could be something in the community where she could be linked into. It showed that the community had a role to play, and the statutory agencies between the nurses, the teachers, the police, the doctors, all the people who play a role in the life of the family.
This service here was set up as a result of an identified need in this community. It comes from the bottom up. So when a service sets up in a community, it's generally people from the community that are really very well linked in with it.
It's a place where women can come safely and break their silence and know that they will be supported by people who understand the difficulties challenging them. It's a place that looks to make people come from a dangerous place and help them to work their way slowly but surely into a safer place.
I got the phone number off my friend and she told me to ring. So I rang and got a good lot of help of where to go and what to do.
I came to know this place through a friend who saw me in one of my bad days. They were there for me. They were like a family to me because I don't have anybody in this country.
I think I saw my first leaflet. It was in the hospital. I can say here saved my life because I had no friends at all, because I was told I was good for nothing and nobody wanted me. My friend gave me the number of the service and I rang. They gave me loads of advice and they put me in touch with people I needed to be put in touch with.
A woman can either come self-refer, she might see a poster or hear about the service through a friend, or somebody could phone on her behalf and we will speak to the woman and then an appointment is set up.
What really appealed to me about this service and other outreach services is the fact that women can access it themselves. They don't have to find the information or be referred by a healthcare professional. They can ring up and they can make their own appointments, and that's huge in terms of the issue, because when it comes to domestic abuse, women feel very stigmatised.
For a woman to break the silence about the abuses happening in her life, it takes a lot for her to make that first step. And what happens after that is myself or my colleague will talk to the woman on the phone just to reassure her about the nature of our service, because we appreciate how difficult it is for a woman to come in and talk to a stranger like myself about what's happening in the most intimate part of her life.
And for some women, they feel they may not have much time. So if they have very little time, they may ask us, could they meet somewhere? We don't go to a woman's home, and we stress that first off. So we go to a location that's nearer, and that's just for the initial contact. If she wants, she can come down here, and most advice visits will take place in here.
We really give her a sense, we would hope, of that the power always stays with her around the whole decision-making process. And after that, what we do is we sit down with her, we go through her options, we listen to her. It's not always about her on that day making a huge life-changing decision, because I think it's so important to say that leaving a domestic violence situation is not an action. It is a process.
Initially then, her safety is a priority for us. But, sometimes I think when women come down first, they might disclose maybe such things as maybe maintenance is the biggest issue for them at the time, and whereas we look at that, then we look at the bigger picture.
But we do an awful lot of interagency work as well. So we'll say the woman is concerned about her children. Although we don't work directly with children, we will link her into places like maybe Bernardo's, we will work with the school liaison officers, Lundaf, all of these agencies who support children who are having their own difficulties. We have links to our own creche the Family Resource Centre has, we have the after schools programme.
That's the beauty of a community development approach. And I know, I'm aware, say for here, that the drug service provides a service for women that are here, and I know that Hesed House is up the road and they provide a counselling service. So what women get is a package as a result of coming to this community service.
If, for instance, their drugs are an issue in the woman's life, so we would use the different drugs teams to link her into maybe Kavanagh House, to the Rialto drugs teams. Like, it depends on what she is looking for. We would link her into MABS if she's having money difficulties. We always see counselling for the woman. It could be Hesed House, it could be the Women's Therapy Centre. So we do a huge amount of networking with other agencies in order to give the woman a wider, more holistic approach to whatever she's trying to deal with.
I think the one of the important things of this service is that we offer ongoing support. So she just doesn't come in once and then that's it. She can keep coming back, and until she's ready to move on, she can come in as often as she needs to.
I'm now able to stay in my own home with the support of this service, and I also had the support of going to courts, which I wouldn't have been able to do by myself.
They helped me through it. They even followed me to the court. They assist me to get a solicitor, and they were there for me.
Even meeting Kate at the courthouse and Kate standing with me, there's no price in that. I mean, she stood with me through 4 years of going back and forth to court, and times when I couldn't make out what my solicitor would have sent me affidavits, went through them all, went through everything.
The main point of our work is always safety. So we do a safety plan with every woman. And then if the woman chooses to use the legal system, then we will support her through that, whether it's helping her prepare for court, solicitor accompaniment, court accompaniment.
We offer court accompaniment because, from day one we saw the value of that when women asked us to go. Even the initial steps of going into a courtroom setting, going into the judicial setting, where do you go for solicitors?
The legal system for family law is basically confrontational. So it's her versus her partner or spouse, as the case may be, where she may be looking for protection. She has to go down to court. Some of the people were never in court before, so even going into the courthouse is very difficult. They have to wait inside, they have to be reassured, and at the same time it's essential for them to get the protection.
First step is we will go down to court with her. We will support her emotionally to go in and take out whatever orders she needs to.
They can help the people with the processing of the various forms and the bureaucracy involved. And they also can help me by making sure they know the sort of information that I'm looking for and the sort of facts I'm looking for, not just a long story. And they can organise statements and factual situations which they can give to me, so that when I go to court I have the information beforehand and I know exactly what to elucidate.
They will walk the journey with a woman. They will give her the information in relation to what happens in court. They will help her to interpret the language that's been spoken in court. They will give her information about the orders that she can take out and all the intricacies around those orders and how to get them and what to do if she doesn't get them.
Sometimes clients can come in a very emotional situation, and I might find it very hard to get the facts that I would need. So the fact that they can do a lot of the groundwork for me and have statements prepared and so on is very helpful.
We felt that we had a lot of experience after 15 years of doing this, that we produced our court accompaniment document last year, and again other services have benefited from this document as well.
I would class myself as being very well educated, being out there, being a strong person, and for years I was on my knees.
And now I'm able to live in my house through the setup coming here. They put me onto the guards, and the guards now are helping me out. More safer now than we ever were.
If the Inchicore Outreach Violence Against Women Centre wasn't here, I believe that there would be a lot more women who would have gone to refuge or end up in the hospital, in a hospital bed. But because we can intervene at a very early stage that allow women to stay in their homes, it does save the state a huge amount of money.
I know from the statistics here that there's a very good record of women not going into refuge. In fact, I know that last year, say 2011, 155 women went through here and not one of them used a refuge. So this service here in Inchicore will help her to stay in her own home, keep her children in her home and get the support that she needs without having to use emergency accommodation.
I think because it's ongoing support, and the research has shown that with ongoing support that women are more likely to follow through. And that's what we have seen here. What we do here I think is more preventative work.
Don't forget, women are killed in domestic violence. Our policy is around, by keeping women safe in their homes, in their community, we're making life in general safer for all of the citizens of this country.
We all need a service here in the area, so I would recommend the service without a doubt.
Because they supported me through the hard times. They are still there for me. I still come to them for information. I'm very happy now, more than I was before.
I can get up in the morning, the sun will shine. I didn't know that for years, that the sun would shine. So now I know that the sun is beginning to shine, and the only people I can thank is here in the outreach.